Hey, YouTube world, what's going on, man? It's your boy Trucker Richie Rich, back on these ones and twos, about to talk some sense, and no dollars today, baby. I hope everybody's doing well. It's about to be a couple days before Christmas, and I wanted to make this video. I was kind of reluctant in making this video. I ain't gonna lie to you. I didn't want to ruffle no feathers on YouTube or ruffle no feathers at Prime, right? But I'm going to be honest and say how I feel. And you know, I've always talked praise about Prime. Always. You never really, you come to my channel, it's always praise and shits and giggles, I guess you can say. But lately, I ain't gonna lie to you, man. I've been a little frustrated with Prime, you know. And this video would be titled, A Few Things I Wish I Can Change About Prime. Okay? This is coming from a perspective of a lease operator. You know, there's some things that I wish I can just tweak a little bit to make me completely happy. And before I make this video, you have to understand there's no trucking company out here that's going to make you completely 100% happy. There's always going to be something. It's the way you mitigate that something that makes it work for you. The way you navigate when it gets a little tough for you. So I talked about a few things. One, as a lease operator, I love the fact that Prime does pay percentage of the load. Okay, Prime has introduced me into a new level of trucking. Being paid percentage of the load is amazing. It's the best thing. And I don't like to run miles. I don't. You know, and this last load, I was literally running 600 miles a day, and your boy Richie Rich don't like that. As a solo driver, and a lot of guys would say, "Well, you're being lazy, Rich," or "That's trucking for you." But imagine running 600 miles a day, every day of the week, every day of the month, for the last 10 years. Okay, you will be virtually burnt out. Okay, you will be done. So it's best that I liked how Prime introduced this percentage pay thing because you don't have to run miles. I can run one load, right? And I'm gonna tell you the most amazing load I ever had at Prime was a $6,000 load going from Springfield, Missouri to Cambridge, Massachusetts, outside that area. And I think that total miles were maybe something like 1,600 miles, but that load paid like $6,000. Okay, after all my expenses were came out, I walked away with about 3,200 bucks in my pocket. And from that day on, I was sold into it. I was sold into I would never run mileage again. And to be honest with you, I don't think for the rest of my career, the another 10 or 15 years I'm doing this, I don't think I ever can run mileage again. Okay. So that being said, there's some things about Prime that I wish I can tweak a little bit. Okay, one of the major things I wish I can tweak is the choice board. Get my beard here. I wish Prime had a low board. They have a choice board, but it's in its infancy stage. It's in its baby stage, and they don't allow a lot of drivers onto it. I really wish I could be onto it because I would like to plan myself. I don't know if you guys remember a while ago, I made a video saying that if I was able to get access to a low board here in Prime, I can make like $8,000 a week by myself. But Prime would never do that. I wish they would. Honestly, I wish they would. I wish they would have a really comprehensive and extensive low board for the lease operators. And what I mean by that is, I wish that you can get onto the low board and at least see 20 or 30 loads in your area that you can choose from. And that's it. Pick out of that and keep it running. But unfortunately, you have to rely on your fleet managers and the sales department. Sales department. I put that in quotations because I'm starting to feel that sales department and fleet manager are the same people. Because sometimes your fleet managers can dispatch you and look for a load for you and put you onto it. I think they do that for each other. I think that's like the inside joke here at Prime. I don't think that's really a separate entity. Now, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm starting to feel like there's not. Okay, I think that's all one and the same. Especially the reason I say that because if I'm running late on the load and I'm telling the dispatcher, the fleet manager, hey, let sales know, sales know they can reschedule, let sales know they can do this. They don't really budge. You know what I mean? I'm never giving back a direct answer. I'll never say, look, we reached out to sales, they rescheduled it. Because I'm thinking that's their job. And the truth is, it doesn't sound like it is. You know what I mean? Like, I think the fleet managers do it. I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but I'm starting to get a little feeling that we've been played about that. Okay. Another thing I wish I can do, and, is dealing with my fleet manager, honest to God. I know he watches my videos, so I'm not going to mention his name, but he led me to believe, he makes me feel when I reject a load that it's hard for him to go back to the planners and find a load that's acceptable for me that I want to take. It's always a very, very low, slow response, and it's followed by phone calls and text messages saying, "Hey, I need you to take this load, call me," you know, and a lot of times the load doesn't work for me. My biggest gripe is, one, I don't like driving through West Virginia. Okay. Um, this situation I'm in now, I'm in Texas, and I was supposed to be home for home time to the Carolinas, and now I got to catch a flight to go home because um, the load that he was supposed to get for me in New Jersey, it canceled, which is not his fault, but he wasn't really quick to find me another load that worked. It was like, look, you got to take this one and go. And that's why I said my first thing, I wish that I had access to a load board so I can actually plan myself and work around it for me. I'm not going to lie to you, it's getting to a point, right, where I really want to be able to plan myself and do what I want to do. You know, the wintertime always brings that out on me. Okay. Summertime, I'm very lax and I don't care. I run anywhere, as long as the country's fine. But wintertime always brings that out on me because a lot of times these fleet managers will force you to take a load that you really don't want to take. Okay. I had a couple situations with my fleet manager within the last couple of weeks that really put a bad taste in my mouth. Um, you know, Especially when I refused a load that I don't think it worked for me, or is going to an area that was dangerous. And I know this guy watches the news. Um, and then here's another thing too that I don't like about Prime. They cap you, and what I mean by that is, say I had a phenomenal week, and this happened to me multiple times. Our last cutoff day is on Wednesday at 1600 hours, which is like 4 o'clock. That's when we had to get all trips in and scanned by that time. And sometimes the trucking gods work out for you, and by Sunday, you might have made $4,200. So that means you have another Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday to kind of run. Well, at least Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, 3 days to run another load that pays well, making your weekly maybe $6,000 or $7,000 or $8,000. And what I see happens is you be in the area and the area, and they have good loads coming out the area, but the planners or the driver manager won't plan you on a good paying load. They'll give you some bullcrap. I'll give you an example. I was up in Baldwinsville, New York. I just ran a load from the meat patch up to New York that paid something like $4,400 or something like that. So I'm up in Baldwinsville, and I know they have loads up there that pay $2,000 going down to Atlanta or going down south. And it was a Sunday, early Sunday morning. They kept sending me loads for $600 and $700 after I kept rejecting them. No, that's not going to work because I know our customer base. And my fleet manager said something to me that really rubbed me the wrong way. He said, listen, man, that load you took in there pays really well. So we're going to take those two averages of this load and this $700 load that you need to take. And you're over this much a mile and whatever. And I'm saying to myself, you guys are capping my earning ability here. Okay. And they capped it that week to like $5,000, where I could have made $7,000. So Prime does that for, I guess, the averages. That's what I feel. They're only concerned about the averages, not the above average, especially for a solo driver. Now, training, different story. I guess they want to run run your socks off, but I'm not training right now. And I'll touch on that later on in another video why I'm not. But I'm not training right now. I'm running solo. And as a solo driver, I want to make the most money I can make Okay, I'm sorry. It's not about averages with me. It's about being above average. Okay, so that's something I don't like about Prime. I don't like that they keep you bottled up. And no matter who you complain to or what you say, it's going to fall on deaf ears. Because they're going to say, "Well, you do good average." Well, I stay out here every week. I'm away from home. I want to win all the time. Okay, this is my attitude, a winner's mentality. And then it brings me to another thing. And this here, I'm sure I get some bite back on it. Um, we have a driver advisory board, right? All companies, a lot of companies have them. They call them DAB for short, or whatever abbreviations they want to throw out there. I'll be honest with you, okay? And I know I'm gonna get some heat for saying this, but they're a waste of time. And they are a waste of fucking time. Driver advisory boards don't do anything but put marshmallows out by the hot chocolate when you're in the yard, or we get Salisbury steak every Friday now. They don't really impact any significant change in the drivers. I don't see it. In a company, there's only two people who make the ultimate decision of what's going to happen with their trucks and their drivers and their pay and everything, and that's the owner of the company or the vice president of the company who is in charge of operations. Okay, those two gentlemen or women or whoever make the decisions for the trucking of their company. Okay, that 15 or 20 member driver board is not doing that. Okay, they're a total joke. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. My experience in my 10 years, they're a joke. Nothing they have done, I can say, really impacted a significant change in any company. I think that the companies allow them to have that because it's in lieu of having a union. Okay, a union, things have to be met. Driver advisory board. Oh, here's some pizza. Here's some chocolate. Okay, here's some soda. Let's talk about driving trucks and what we're our future of the company. But that's not talk about any specific changes that are coming down the pipeline. Okay, so the reason I say this is because my next issue is going to address that. Um, my biggest issue I have with Prime, and this is any company really, but more specifically with Prime because I'm working with Prime, is the truck. Okay, I have an issue with the truck. I do. Um, I wish they went faster. I wish there was more horsepower. I wish that these alarms and bells and whistles were turned off. I wish I can idle the truck when I need to. Now, let me touch specifically on every object, every single thing I said. I pay for everything on this truck. I'm a lease operator. I'm an independent contractor, so they say. Okay, I'm independent of Prime. I'm my own entity. Okay, and I wish that I had more control over the truck. I wish I was able to go a better speed. Okay, and the reason I say that is because a lot of times some of these loads I've been getting have been extremely tight. I mean, very, very tight. And it's impossible to make some of these deliveries with a governed truck. Okay, I'm not saying that I want to be ungoverned and drive bad shit. Okay, but I want to be a little more competitive in my speed. As of right now, Prime is probably the second slowest trucking company out here. I mean, I was shocked to learn that Swift has raised their governor to 70 miles an hour and their independent contractors to 72 miles an hour. Crete has raised their speed to 68 miles an hour. Even Stevens has raised their speed limit. Okay, Prime is like the slowest truck out here. Now, they say these trucks are governed at 65 miles an hour for lease operators, but the truth is, it's more of 64 on the low end. Okay, these trucks operate the same way a manual truck used to operate with the high gear and low gear, and it's the low gear of 64 miles an hour. I put a tactometer on here one time, and I could see that I'm only doing like 63, 64 miles an hour, but it's saying 65. Okay, it's because the horsepower is cut down on these trucks. And the reason I learned that is I had a friend who actually bought a truck, and he had to go to the dealer and get the horsepower bumped up. Okay, I think these trucks, if I'm not mistaken, are 500 horsepower, and I think Prime cuts them down to like 375. Okay, they cut them down a lot. And the reason I kind of knew that when I first started is I was taking a mountain, right? And I only had 12,000 pounds in the box. And my foot's to the floor, and I'm climbing this mountain. And there was a flatbed guy with an excavator on there where I know he weighed probably 90,000 pounds. It was an oversized load. And I couldn't pass him. He was beating me up the mountain. And I'm looking over here and I see that the RPMs don't go no higher than like 1,300 RPMs when my foot's to the floor trying to climb this mountain with only 12,000 in the box. So that's when I realized, like, damn, Prime cuts the speed of the trucks and the power of the trucks. And that bothers me because I pay for everything on this truck. Everything. I pay for everything. If it's not under warranty, it's coming out of my paycheck. So I should have more say so in the governor and the speed of the truck. Okay. Another thing, these bells and whistles and buzzers, okay, these lane assist controls, they're a little too much. You know, when you're driving down the highway, and the highway can be all battered and all kind of tore up, you're going to hear these buzzing sounds go off. And I'm shocked that nobody who's been in the military or suffers from PTSD has said anything to them about it. Okay, like, that reminds you of being in Fallujah, okay, and driving the Humvees with the radar on there when he picked up a possible ID on the road. Oh my God, you know, I just remember that sound from when I did Sword, okay, years ago, and in our Humvees and heavy duties, they had those buzzer sounds in there when they put those radar detectors in there when you thought you were coming across something that was dangerous or like an explosive device. That sends my nerves up high. It always makes you feel like you're doing something wrong, and chances are you're not. You're just driving down the highway, and this radar system picks up a tree, it picks up a bridge, it picks up broken highway. It is just buzzing off in your ear all night. And I'm sure the person whose genius idea was to turn that on has never driven a truck before in their life. There's no possible way they could have, because they would know that was extremely annoying. You know, and it doesn't keep you awake. It pisses you off. It pisses me off. I get tired of hearing it. And I wish I can change that. You know, a lot of people will say, well, Rich, why don't you join the driver advisory board, right? Why don't you go become a driver advisory member? And the truth is, my attitude and the honesty I'm not built for that. I will hurt some feelings in there and probably offend some people. And it's not that I'm trying to tell a guy how to run his company. Okay, I'm not trying to do that. But I'm a veteran driver. I've been driving for so long that I will want to see change for the better. Do you know what I mean? I will want some significant change, and I will ask, when is this going to happen? If it doesn't happen by the time I was promised it would happen, I'll raise my voice about it. Okay. So let me tell you another situation I had with the truck. Okay. I use a CPAP machine. I've been using it for the last 10 years. And I'm going to tell you something. Before I used a CPAP machine, I did have horrible sleeping. I couldn't sleep well. But after I was diagnosed and treated with a CPAP machine, I sleep very well. So I need it. I need it every night to sleep. I can't sleep without it. Okay, I am so used to it. So what happened was, when I got this truck here, the APU system had broken in it. It was around April. Okay, so these trucks only idle if it's 29 degrees and below or 80 degrees high. Okay, if it's like 77, 79, it won't idle. It will shut off in like 5 minutes. Okay, or actually 90 seconds is what it is. So what happened was my AP was broke, so I couldn't sleep. And for about a week, I didn't sleep. I had to make my way to Springfield to get my APU changed and fixed. And let me tell you something, man. I think that's dangerous in itself. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how I did it. I mean, I was really wired, and I couldn't idle my truck, and every little trick that I knew to do to make these trucks idle just wasn't working. I mean, I was pushing in the air brakes, I was pulling out the air brakes, I was doing everything. I even almost got down to fiddling with this thing here. See if I can flip this camera here. No, I can't. But there's a there's a little temperature gauge on that thing right there. You probably can't see it. I'm sorry, but there's a temperature gauge on that thing right there. That if you put a match under it or like light or heat something really hot, it actually tells the outside temperature, okay, and would make the truck idle. I mean, I tried to do everything in my power to get this truck to idle, and I couldn't. So I couldn't sleep. And when I called road breakdown, they couldn't do anything for me. They were like, "We're sorry, we can't get the trucks to idle. You have to call Success Leasing." So I called Success Leasing and I said, "Listen, I have a medical device that I need to use, and I can't use it. I can't sleep. The truck won't idle. Can I get special permission to get these trucks to idle? Get my truck to idle?" And I was told no. And then the lady on the phone told me, "You should bring it up to driver advisory board." And I said to myself, they only meet like what, once a month or something like that, and they're not going to go to my specific situation. And the lady was like, "Be honest with you, you can still go with them, and they'll still say no." It's I don't like that. I didn't like that. But these are the few things that I wish I could change about Prime. I mean, other than that, Prime's a good company, and I'm not going to talk bad about them, saying that don't come here or don't work here. Yeah, this is a great place. They introduce you to the revenue side of being an owner operator, but that's all you're going to get. Okay, you're not going to get the full owner operator feel where you're independent. Because I'll be honest with you, and I know I'm gonna get some burn back from what I'm about to say, but I, yeah, I'm a company driver. I'm a glorified company driver. I am, because you can't run any other loads that you want to that are not associated with Prime, you know, and you really don't have a choice to turn down loads. Now I can turn down loads, but they got their ways of making you take it. And what happened to me a few times was showing me that they're using my driver manager used those tactics on me to get me to take loads I didn't want to take. Okay. Um, you don't have any real powers in negotiating rates or anything. And, you can try, like, it's almost wasted breath to tell your fleet manager, "Listen, I want this cent per mile per load I get." It goes in one ear and out the other. Unless your fleet manager validates and listens to you what you ask him, then put me down with him, please. And that's another thing. You can't really switch fleet managers here easily. When I hear guys say they switched 2 and 3 and they had to have a meeting and go through numbers, that's ridiculous. Okay, if I decide not to work with a guy, or I get tired of working with a guy, I should be able to switch to another guy I feel who can help me better, and it shouldn't be a hassle to do that. Okay. But, this video, I'm sorry to make it a little long. I'm just sitting here thinking because, this situation I'm in now, I'm almost missed out on my Christmas vacation with my family because, my fleet manager didn't really care to look to find a load that worked for me. He just threw whatever at me, Now I got to make other arrangements, I'm still going to go home and I'm still going to do what I have to do. I just had to do something a little differently, but if I could change some things about Prime, those issues would be the ones I would address. The truck, the speed, and the ability to really search my own loads on their load board. Okay, I mean, I will put together a better plan than I think I'm giving, and I'm starting to wonder. The planners are probably some 20-year-old, 22-year-old kid, who's playing with my livelihood. I don't like that. I don't like it. And the last couple of weeks, it has been like that. These loads have been extremely tight, causing me to run really hard. And even when I'm running hard, sometimes it's hard to even get there. I mean, the truck is governed. It's hard to run 1,500 miles in 2.5 days if your truck is governed. And then I like it because the setting on the truck, they only have it set to economy. Okay, and I know what guys are going to say. "Well, Rich, it's the fuel cost, man. It's the fuel cost." Listen, I pay for fuel. Okay, and if Prime is worth half their salt, their fuel discount will be competitive, which it is. But it's hard to run. It is. It's frustrating. And I'm not one to complain to and bitch and moan to supervisors and stuff like that. Like I really don't want to talk to my fleet manager, and I think he knows it. And that's just to avoid any conflict and take the, personality out of business. I'm straight business. This is a business decision here. But being a lease operator, in my opinion, is just a tax efficient way for companies to cut their losses. I think last year I made $197,000 gross, and that's just their tax write off. They can write off 197,000 bucks. So if me and like 4,000 other drivers are doing that, that's millions and millions of dollars of tax write off. But we're still company drivers. Do you see what I'm saying? Like it's not completely independent. So anyway, guys, I know I'm gonna get some sweat about this from other Prime drivers. And listen, guys, you guys are more welcome to reply and make a video and say how you feel. I'm not saying that Prime's a bad company. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that this isn't a good place I don't want to be. I'm not saying that either. I'm just saying that there's some things I wish I can tweak. And I kind of get that feeling from a lot of other drivers when I hear their YouTube channels. They'll say, man, I wish I had more speed, or I wish I had more control of the truck, or I wish I could plan better, plan my route better. So anyway, this is Trucker Richie Rich. I'm sitting here watching the sun go down and thinking about my life. Peace, y'all. Love.